think that Insani is going to be carrying a lot of this for MIBR if it comes down to it. I guess we'll find out right now as we do head into the game. The first here, day 2 in Kazakhstan. It's MongolZ versus MIBR, and we will begin on Mirage. So setting up for a pretty early A execute. There's really no way out of this one. It's just straight out of spawn call. They probably don't even really care what the CTs are doing, although I do kind of sort of hate the shifting around, and they must hate it too, because the longer this takes, the more the chances are that there is at least one CT at top mid who's going to say, well, there's nobody really here. But for the minute, it is the plain 3-man setup at the A bomb site, so we'll see what the dualies could do.
Yeah, the dualies have been doing a lot so far. Oh my god, okay, just one kill from Save there. Nice entries for the MongolZ. You wouldn't expect anything else. Nice shot at range, though, from the Kalzi, really making this retake a possibility. Event is not operational. Blitz on the other end of that, locking that one down. Oh, okay, the Kalzi still doing some damage, giving a chance here, fighting chance in this 1v2.
Breno walking in, creeping up. In fact, he's going to get the first kill almost for free. Doesn't make it any easy. He's got 7 bullets left. He hasn't reloaded yet. No kit either, so going to have to try and tap that bomb and force the fight right away. And Sensu, that's all he had to do. He's won the round as soon as he doesn't die to that instant headshot. Now he can try and find the kill. Even if he doesn't, it doesn't really matter. He's already won the round. The only chance there was really for Breno to get the instant one dink on him, and obviously that was going to be very, very hard to do. So the MongolZ will pick up the early round here, and it's not special, it's not exciting, but it does work.
It does. And I feel this matchup really does have that there's certainly that upside potential. I think there's obviously been that conversation going around with MongolZ for a while, as we heard on the desk as well. You know, it feels like they can do more, and MIBR certainly a dangerous squad. And I feel like the Brazilian teams just have historically had that aggressive style that I think it just at least should make for a very fun matchup.
Oh yeah.
We have a potential move into the stack here. The MongolZ, close range against the pistols. Mostly USBs though, and that danger is slowly but surely maybe starting to be dealt with. That Deagle over the top. Not going to find its mark, unfortunate.
It's a nice try, though. I mean, it's worth those little tricks just to get, you know, anything on the board if you can. USP here. Ooh, he actually is going to get a kill on Blitz. That's kind of interesting. Thought he was going to go down right away, but also be the only casualty on the MongolZ side to begin with. So nothing too exciting to start with here as MIBR just slowly getting into the game. Haven't really got many interesting kills or anything like that, but the M4s are coming out. We won't have the early AWP on the CT side, so you know, but just a bit of a downgrade potentially. It would be nice if they could have that early on.
Yeah, I'm actually always a big fan on Mirage as well. I mean, hopefully you can win the round with the M4s, but then being able to bring out the orb in a moment when the other team can't predict it. But going to that point later on as to how the orb impacts the team movement, because this actually might not be kind of that slow mid-take default. We're looking at a lot of presence here from the MongolZ towards the B apartments. And on the other end of that, Breno does have the support by the pillar in B. Oh, peek Techno, perfect timing, finds it. The Kalzi has to deliver the defense now, and looks like they'll be able to get a couple kills there in that defense. 9-10 and Sensu left.
It's only working out a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest, for MIBR. I feel like losing that first player, there's no head armor, so the MAC-10 just completely blew him up, and they didn't seem like they had a great job defending it, but they did take down the one player that was coming in from the catwalk position. Sensu, that's not a player that he could really see. Just safe going down at a distance. Suddenly, 2 versus 2. The bomb much delayed as the MongolZ are happy to just wait. They've got 50 seconds, so if MIBR offer another potential mistake, if they try to push forward and walk into one of these AKs, and that would definitely make things easier. 40 seconds now, and eventually they have to move just a bit closer. Deep Molotov here will put Insani out of any chance to stop the bomb plant. He maybe could have swung for it. That would be such a baller play if he just decided, all right, I'll tank the damage, but he can't necessarily know that the bomb actually was being committed on the other side. So Afterplant now coming into effect, and 9-10. Timing is insane, and so is the one tap. He's dropped Insani. That is so casual and just such a slap in the face exit. Getting a bit closer now, and he'll get the exact same treatment. 9-10. That's just a beautiful round.
Yeah, just the star power of 9-10 certainly being flexed early this morning here in Astana in just beautiful fashion. And I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less from, you know, Europa, such like savagery on the one bullet accuracy. And there, once again, we see that key entry. And I mean, the defense wasn't bad at all from MIBR. You know, they created a very doable scenario.
Yeah, more than I was expecting initially, to be honest. So, not bad at all. It's 3-0 and round number 4 here. It's also for MIBR to get that first buy round just slapped out of your hands. It just is never a good time. Seeing a lot of smokes though on the MIBR side. I'm kind of curious what the plan is here. The only other time that I could really think of that many smokes being purchased in a round like this one will be on Inferno, where people just try and block off Banana forever. But on this map, it's not really going to be possible in the same way. Like, maybe you can buy an extra 20 seconds with 3 smokes like this, but probably not more than that. All right, boost again. Didn't really work last time, but they are here. This time they will get the headshot on Sensu, so not bad.
Yeah, I like that they were not discouraged and went for it again. 4v4, obviously, a lot to be desired. That AK, I'm curious if that's going to be collectible at some point. We'll have to see. No? Okay, brilliant. Look at the due diligence there. Not leaving that one too accessible for MIBR to grab. And MIBR now rotating across, thinking that A might be more of the selection, but they would be wrong.
Yeah, just to say as well that there's an insane overrepresentation going B from apps on the MongolZ side for this particular map. It's something that they do quite a bit more than some of the other top Mirage teams. It's fun to think about. You know, samples. I think they played a lot in the last 2 months. I think nine maps in total played on Mirage. So they have, you know, a bit of warm-up on it already. This is the only downside, is when you stay mid to try and hold the rifles, it also means that this team is super split up. And now as a result, it's kind of worst case scenario. You've given up the AWP and the AK anyway. And that was because of that earlier choice, which I think is still, it makes sense to do it. It's just that they were already so far apart, with 2 of them going B, 1 in connector, 1 in middle, and then they just slowly get picked apart. So round is obviously going to be still lost here for MIBR, but it's a really great loss for them in that sense.
Yeah, it's a massive value. There's no doubt about that. And you know, we talked about the AWP being on board. Obviously, the MongolZ will be. They'll know it. And one of the points I was making previously is that Mirage is cool for the CTs in general because you have so many options for aggression, and that makes the AWP, when it comes online for the CT side, really interesting because, you know, usually you need to try to use utility to make a certain angle safe because an AWP could be on it. But when there's so many potential angles that could be pushed, it kind of changes how the T side should move around the map once they know the AWP is out. So it'll be interesting to see, firstly, what MIBR decide to do with it.
Yeah, it's kind of an underrated point, and you know, I think as a commentator, it's not. I know I've been guilty of this in the past. You end up always highlighting like AWP versus AWP. Who's going to be the better AWPer? It's like that's fun to think about sometimes, but a lot of the times what you said is true. It's about how the riflers can move around on either side of the map, and obviously they know that the AWP is in play here for the MongolZ. So we'll see if they can still find a way to make it through. Oh, Reno, he just the early nade damage there, and then the follow-up. As 9-10 immediately goes down. Again, it was going to be at least another test towards the B-bomb side. They had the bomb ready in case they find the opening. Ooh, imagine if he would have hit it. It's actually really easy to get the lineup up against the van position there. But obviously, someone has to be on the other side to receive.
It's now about a minute left on the clock. You see the bomb being rotated back out of the B apartments. Gun disposed of by Techno, and the MongolZ now regrouping to go towards A. And the A defense feels fairly decent here. I mean, there's a deep position for exit. He could get isolated should there be some smokes here for the MongolZ on jungle and ticket.
They have a lot of Molotovs too. Very easy position to throw a Molotov to. And that in itself could kind of force his hand. They make the jump out there. Safe with some damage, but not quite the kill, and a really deep grenade that lands. They haven't really burned out that shadow position just yet. Swing comes in, and the timing is so good. It's safe to throw the flashbangs, and they get a couple of kills just like that. Blitz gonna end up going down too. He must have been throwing the grenade. He must have already pulled the pin, and then the grenade killed him afterwards. What a wild turn of events. But nonetheless, it's MIBR picking up the round here, 4-1. Really great stuff. I especially appreciate the timing of the flashes that were thrown in from safe. Otherwise, that fight can go a lot of different ways, but I think they really set it up nicely for themselves. And a bit of comedy at the end with the grenade going off after he'd already died, basically. Timeout.
Yes, a timeout indeed. And I'm liking a lot what I'm seeing from MIBR. They're finding value in difficult positions, and it was cool that they get that early pick. And the thing is with the early pick, it's always about, okay, you have the advantage. How do you convert? How do you play it? And MIBR certainly getting a good read on the timing. The MongolZ just really keeping it basic too. We're just going to go for an A hit. And I think MIBR proving that you need to do a little bit more lifting or convincing of rotations, or maybe creating more of a hole, just finding a pick before you hit a site. Because both A and B have been defended quite well by MIBR if you just leave them to their own defensive devices.
Actually picked up 2 AKs as well on the CT side, which slowly going to make this MIBR defense a little bit more interesting. Just Techno going down early on. That was on the A ramp, and now 3 of them pushing through the middle. And honestly, with the weaponry here, they probably will just go really fast at it into Insani. That's the power of the AK. Great spray down, and Tech or Senzu here probably going to be dead as well. Oh, yeah, the timing is close though. Just Messinio left. He will drop to safe, and that's a very, very clean round. They probably upgrade a couple of more guns there. By the way, the economy here for MongolZ, another sign of that earlier round where there was an AK and an AWP saved on the MIBR. Like, that's the casualties from that round for the MongolZ means they ran out of money, even if they won 4 in a row, much sooner than they normally would have. So yeah, it's kind of all coming together here for the Brazilian side.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, the MongolZ also looking like they're lacking a bit of that, I think, classic MongolZ kind of just steamroller effect. I feel like this needs to come online here. And they're going to take the pistol straight into the apartments, but a Molotov to slow things down, or an incendiary. And MongolZ will be stalled out a little bit. And MIBR, they made the previous round where those full AKs look like they were pistols, just demolishing that push in the mid position. But here the pistols go.
Breno, just stay alive. Yeah, disengage. Really good. Smart play. Lukowski tapping away. And Breno kind of recovering a little bit of confidence. Sick round from Lukowski, but maybe not technically the hardest kills to get. I'm just happy to see Breno, again, fall back from the position. The only way that can really go bad is if he dies really early on from fighting too much, and then there's a bomb plant and an M4 back there. It can spiral pretty quickly, but none of that happened. Nice recovery from MIBR, to be honest. I felt like at the beginning this had the potential to be, like that steamroller kind of effect, but I feel like they've managed to stabilize the game quite a bit here, and they need to on the CT side, right? They have to get quite a few rounds. I would say for MIBR to feel really good about this, probably up to about 7 rounds in the first half, and that's quite a distance away still. Trade in the middle. Oh my god. I don't know how he missed it either. Safe. Gets shot in the back. In fact, it was 9-10 getting that one. And Breno and Exit left 2 versus 4. Disastrous scenario playing itself here. Unfortunately for MIBR.
What can Breno do here? Oh, the timing's good. Open plant, that's an easy kill that. 2 players left. They've got to pick up the bomb. Oh, plenty of time, of course, to take this slowly and make sure that you don't allow Breno to get any more damage. The drop is going to be heard here. Sensi on the other end of things. This is a hard spot to check for, and it is completely under. Oh no! Oh my goodness, Breno makes it happen. Senzu, what was that? Breno continues the movement now. Again, position still known as Mzinio left on the site, and once more, Breno not sure where this second player, or the final player, is as he starts to close the distance. Utility creating some more space here. Making it a bit harder, but Mzinio, good timing on the peak, takes Breno down, and that Senso moment there, Anders, feels that's a worrying sign.
That was about to go down as one of the all-time fuck-ups. If they had failed a round because of it, could you just even imagine how that would have been received?
Damn, you've brought up the F-bomb from Anders. That's how.
I don't know how else would you describe it. I can only lie so much, Dan. I have like my own limits. This just was like I don't know what else to say. Yes, you should feel bad. That's the only way you'll learn, though. You know, you learn, so just don't ever, like, that's how you're reminded. Like, that feels such a terrible feeling that, like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, it seems highly uncharacteristic. Senzu's mechanics are pretty unbelievable, so you only miss a shot like that once you sort of get into your own head a little bit. So it'll be interesting. You know, this is the first map. These are the first 8 rounds of this series. That could be 3 maps. So
I hope so.
See if the nerves can stabilize there for the MongolZ.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's still a really good first half for them. It's 5-3, double AWP on the MIBR side, but can they get anything more done with it is the question here. Will afford them the luxury of having MongolZ up here. And it probably means that Breno is going to be able to play much closer to the catwalk and middle. Classic, you know, upside of having double AWP on the CT side here is just having a little bit more of a relaxed B defense. It's an interesting thing to see Blitz with the MAC-10 here. It's 9-10 to go down early, but that MAC-10 could do something. Annoying weapon to be up against. Some damage through the Galil. Somehow, it sounded like it was headshots, but they must have been like through the wall because they did almost no damage.
Yes. Breno. Oh, okay. And Zenio straight out the Palace position. That's devastating damage, evening things up to a 3v3. Just under a minute left. Now Bomb is coming back through T-spawn towards that A side of the map. And MIBR, they are fairly dispersed. Insani is moving into the site here for committed defense. We'll see what he's able to do.
This is kind of sick. It might be hard for them to check this. Unlikely that he's going to be this deep in. Still a 3-on-3, and with 30 seconds left. All right, Breno confirming. Still up in the palace waiting for it. So Insani, he's got that bit of info. He's going to be just hard spotting this angle. You don't have any more grenades left to clear him out of the corner either. The Molotov's been thrown elsewhere. Oh, such a clean peek coming out. Vicinio, another one to add to the tally. Breno going for the peek here. The bomb's being planted right in front of him, but he doesn't swing wide enough to actually see that. And as a result, the MongolZ now with a great chance to win the round. Breno and MongolZ, they've got a choice to make as well. They can't afford to lose too many guns here, so they will immediately pack it up and just try and carry this double AWP setup. So it's a lot of money on the line if you are going to lose it. They might anyway. As Senzu was already out hunting. Pretty aggressive stuff here.
Some defensive shooting there from Breno. Angle held. Senzu gets revenge. Interesting. It's funny, you know, Anders. Earlier we set up how, you know, with the AWP you don't know on the T side where it's going to be, and so you might just run into an angle where AWP's holding it, and that's an easy kill for the AWP. And then we saw that happen in the Palace position, and the AWP just completely whiffs.
Yeah.
So okay, never mind.
The theory of it was correct, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Smacinio, actually last time when we saw the MongolZ yesterday, we didn't get to see too much out of him. But he obviously is a super sick player as well. Kind of burst onto the scene. Young player, and I think captured a lot of people's hearts in some way. Sometimes called a babyface killer.
Nice.
For good reason. Deep Molotov or incendiary to try and hold him back. The flash is insane, and so is Insani. Blitz and Techno both going down. That setup was just remarkable. It's just on flashbang. He set himself up for a bit of victory there. Breno crouching in and taking down Messinio. And MIBR. They swing back. I appreciate the attitude here. They're not letting themselves get rolled.
Yeah, and given that the MongolZ just won a round and they didn't really recover any economy yet, this is a great way to get a 6-6 finish in this half for MIBR. Protecting the bomb. Setting up the perimeter. Edge of the smoke, and the MongolZ will finish that off easily. 9-10, all he can do to try to hold on to this AWP. And I wonder, you know, what MIBR would decide to throw at this, if anything. You know, some teams are very well. Breno's like really coming to play today. Really is coming to play. So again, good signs of life from MIBR, and I feel like a 6-6 is really so very doable now for them.
It's definitely a strong option for them right now. They've got the economy on their side, and the MongolZ. I do think they will be fine with having, you know, 6 rounds on the T side. I don't think that's disastrous at all. But you're right, they really haven't got off to that steamroller kind of effect that we've seen in some of the other games. Smoke in the middle, smoke towards top mid. There's 4 of them going to be showing up here for the Mongols to try and take a bit of a fight. Random taps coming out, but here we go. Insani trying to set himself up once again, this time with the HE. Kind of uncomfortable in the position. Backup is there though. And he's not really panicking. Even if that was maybe a bit awkward, he's still just kind of sticking around.
There we go, there's a rush through connector. The pistols closing the distance against the rifles. It's exactly how you do it, and it's causing problems for MIBR. Playing too close, getting punished. And now we need a hero effort from Safe and Breno once again. And I don't know that they want to risk it at this point. This is just not the rounds you want to lose. We're talking about the 6-6 right now. MIBR not looking good for that.
Super uncomfortable from a very clear path to tying up the scoreline. So now all of a sudden potentially risking almost everything here. Huge difference right now for the Mongols, picking up even one more round, and they absolutely will in this one. Smicinio going down, but it's all to try and save, maybe not even so much the AWP, but especially the AK, because I think they can actually repurchase the AWP no matter what, but obviously the AK, not quite the same thing here. Safe, kind of getting hunted by Blitz. Ooh, okay, it's a good flick, so at least they'll have that, but that's 7 on the side of Mongols.
Yeah, an unexpected round indeed, and we'll see for MIBR. I mean, I feel like MIBR, we are having hiccups here and there, but overall, I don't feel too concerned. We'll see what they can do to recover in this final round. They have a decent buy, to say the least. Pretty much everything you would want. The AWP's still online. And we haven't seen too much in the way of shenanigans from the AWP in terms of those early pushes. The one time I think was in Palace, and it just went horribly wrong. But that feels like
Sure.
an anomaly.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not been too crazy. Probably feel like they don't necessarily need so. I mean, I do kind of agree with you. I feel like the defense has mostly been okay. But the Mongols definitely, this kind of round is one of the ones that, if you're MIBR and you do want a bit of an upset win, which it definitely would be, then you can't be losing rounds like these. You just can't allow for it. Well, we started the whole half with an A execute towards the, and the pistol round early on, and looks like we might finish with one as well. Keeping it simple, keeping it pretty plain. To be honest, if they get exit right now, they probably get the bomb plant almost immediately. Although, Smicinio, because of the smoke here at the ramp from the CT side, he's going to go back and check that there's nobody flanking immediately. So that smoke actually really, really dissuaded them.
And Breno does have a deep position on the B apartments, so MIBR now have to be asking some questions. Breno still fairly deep there. Smoke in the window. Typically, I feel like MIBR have been winning rounds like this, but the Mongols haven't been getting a pick and just sort of walking around looking for a spot to burst onto. Now checking the underpass. As you say there, they have to sort of question everything at this point, as they gave up so much early map control.
Yeah, this is the kind of default split you normally do it right at the start of the round, and they're doing it much later as a result of that smoke. Another smoke going down here, so Senzu being put on a bit of a hold. Now, they're going to be smoking jungle themselves, so that's going to land behind Insani, and they'll actually keep throwing some more smokes to try and create a bit of a path here for Blitz to see if he can get out. Oh, that's been spotted, though, and that's the bomb. Leading with the bomb that deep in, it takes away all the element of surprise. Insani, he knows everything. Techno ends up going down, and I think the rest are going to follow pretty swiftly. 20 seconds here. 9-10 getting the kills, not going to make a difference. Insani with 3 in the round. They've spotted out Senzu. Oh, the flash otherwise would have been sick for the setup. But it will be another round at the end here for MIBR. It's better than nothing. It's still competitive, even if the Mongols are going to go into the second half, I think, feeling pretty good about all of this.
Yeah. It's one of those halves where both teams like, yeah, feels all right. Could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot worse. I think both teams are kind of in the same place. So we'll see how the pistol falls and how that might decide the early rounds of the second half. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see that Mongols kind of struggled to get openings in the way that we saw them do against FURIA yesterday. I felt like it was a very different dynamic. And FURIA very actively fighting for that mid control. But in this game, the Mongols didn't even really heavily try to take mid like they did against FURIA. And I felt like
much less.
It was working for quite some time against FURIA before FURIA figured it out.
Speaking of pistol rounds, though, MIBR have a cool A split that they do on this map, where they boost into the window. So just trying to end up going, window, connector, and then A ramp, maybe palace as well. It's really fun. I just enjoy the slightly more elaborate kind of plays.
Yeah.
It's always, I mean, you can always argue that doing some of those plays in a pistol round is always like the chances that something gets screwed up is really high.
Yes.
But it's fun to watch, Single, some more utility here. So that, the extra utility could definitely mean it could be one of those, boost kind of strategies, because you do need the extra grenades to make it work. But right now, every single one of them headed for the B bomb sites. And still, smokes are going to be interesting to see where exactly they land. It's Techno moving up. He's going to be the first point of contact, instantly deleting Lukowski, but a really good return. Next up is Senzu. Is not quite as accurate, not swift with the kills, but the backup is there, Dan. They're already in the site.
Yeah, more headshots required here. Senzu defending by the pillar. There we go. Nice headshots and another deletion on the sites. Okay, Senzu's back. He's woken up. That connector, I'm not sure what to call it. Snafu has, it's long in the past now. And now Exit looking to try to take on 4 players. Not sure how likely that is. The MongolZ whittling him down. There we go. The MongolZ with the pistol, 8-5. Exactly what they wanted.
That's actually really well played, especially because he did miss the first couple of shots there. But I guess you could see from the setup as well there on the MongolZ that they had a really good read that there was going to be some sort of a B-Apps play, because they had 2 forward players, a 3rd player in the back of the bomb site. So they just had so many people in position, or at least nearby, to rotate, that they kind of had done a little bit of research. They must have known that at least there was an opportunity. And it's kind of rare to have that much of a double presence in the B hallways anyway. But typically, if you're going to be stacking the B bomb side and the pistol round, you're going to be having most of those players on the catwalk, because it means they can go in the middle and the A bomb side if they're wrong, basically. Yeah. But if the MongolZ had been wrong in this round, then they would have been disastrously wrong. They would have been really far away from the A bomb side if it had played out that way.
Yeah, and I do like that point. It is a good way to think about it. Even if you don't have any data on the other teams, that one of the sites is going to be easier to retake than the other, and you can kind of, sometimes make a decision off of that and how you stack. And the MongolZ have some deep control here in mid, and MIBR maybe trying to think about a timing, but just with blocks, it's going to be a tough one. And obviously no bomb plant.
Yeah,
is maybe the difference for them in not going for a force buy in this round.
Yeah, definitely. They can't. I mean, they can, but I feel like it would be a really crazy move. Prefer this way. They're just waiting, probably having a bit of a conversation, and obviously hoping that the more grenades are going to be used for the MongolZ. Trying to waste their time as much as ours, Dan. They're wasting my time. How dare they?
Time is money.
Yeah, exactly. Get on with it. Why don't you?
Well, there we go. They heard you, and they're all dead. So 9-5, and the AK is surely to follow.
Yeah, let's see what the first call here is going to be. Pretty common for some of the defaults to come out at the beginning, I feel like, just to establish whether or not that's going to work and kind of get us a read of it. It's tough in MR12, though, because you can see it already. There's not a lot of room for mistakes here for MIBR. Even if the first half, it wasn't a disaster. 5 rounds on the CT side. I mean, it's not what you're looking for, but it's enough to sort of stay in the game. But at this stage here, if they fall early on, if they lose the AKs in this one, it will be a really big problem. Decent timing on the smoke. Good depth on the grenade. Doing damage to Lukowski. Love the position up on the railing here, but it's dangerous. MP9 will defeat Breno. So not the ideal start here. Flashes are coming through, and the trades will continue. Sensu's taking down Exit. That's at the top of mid as well. And Safin and Sani now 2 versus 4. It's not looking good here for T side.
Yeah, just caught in the different parts of the default, isolated from one another. The MIBR players, it's one of the best ways to win around against the Ts. If you can find a good timing and good plays as they're setting up, as they're moving forward into position, but not yet in position, you just get a situation like this, a 2v4 with no map control, and the MongolZ can give up mid because they've got the numbers advantage. They don't need the map control.
It's also the MongolZ winning this with a FAMAS and 2 MP9s. I would call this a bonus round for a reason, basically signaling that even if the MongolZ had lost this round, they probably wouldn't care that much. But winning with this kind of weaponry just means you're going to be rich. super rich.
Yes, definitely, and you have those extra rounds in your lead as a buffer to feel like you can take bigger risks than maybe otherwise you would, and it's the kind of thing where if one of those risks pays off, you might just kind of win the game off of it or get into a game-winning advantage. And for MIBR, it feels like any single mistake could be you giving up that game-winning advantage. So in terms of the pressure, it is fully on MIBR. No doubt about that. Techno. Oh, I thought he had an inkling, but just going for the AK gets it, which is a huge steal. So very happy, I'm sure, with that.
Just actual theft happening.
Yeah. As we have said, there's no justice in Counter-Strike. There's no police. I mean,
they are on the police side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who do you call when the police start stealing, Dan? What do you do?
Yeah.
Obviously, can't. You know.
Can't do anything.
Just have to accept it at the point in time. 10-5 scoreline here. The Mongols with 2 AKs, 1 AWP, quite a bit of money in the bank as well. MIBR, not the best of times. I will say, when all else fails for this particular team, MIBR, I've noticed, they do love just an A split with a lot of ramp presence, which I guess we just call it a default execute on the A-bomb side, but it is something they do quite a bit, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just because it's a normal thing and everyone knows what it looks like doesn't mean it can't work. In fact, the fact that you run it a lot can also mean everyone is so well drilled in checking every angle. Like you kind of, you're just going through all the motions. You know exactly where to look, and there's no real confusion. So maybe we could see one of those kind of strats being played out. They will set up a double smoke in the middle, so it's going to be window and top mid smokes. So pretty common stuff. Although they're doing that, and they're just essentially waiting for a MongolZ response. They want to see, is anyone pushing underpass? Anyone pushing top mid? Nobody is. Spoilers.
Spoilers. And there is a sense that, as you say, the other team, in this case MongolZ, kind of knows some of those preferences MIBR might have. So MIBR sort of conditioning util to be used elsewhere. And we actually did see the MongolZ throwing very early timings on, for the incendiaries. I mean, that's fairly common as a standard practice. And they're so far ahead, they don't need to really try to cut any corners.
Yeah, just keep doing it.
Play it safe.
Interesting position for Blitz here. I kind of hate everything about that play, if I'm being totally honest. But he's fine.
Gets info. 3 players spotted. Late mid-take coming on through, and it's Blitz just running into that one.
Why? Actually, why? The whole thing is so crazy. They have flashbangs. He could have been flashed in from a teammate. Techno has one at the B-bomb side. You can throw them over the wall if you want to.
I thought that was what was going to happen there. Now I mean, MIBR against the clock hit. They got to start moving real quick, so the pressure really is on them.
Yeah.
And they've making their way across to the site. Nice shot by a 9-10, and the rest of MIBR are following.
Yeah, but there is a bit of a crossfire. There's still a player at Tetris right now that they haven't even realized. It's Massinio. Good with the spray down. Breno is going to die no matter what. A good double kill. You're right. The clock probably ultimately what defeated, MIBR. Assisted with some of the AK bullets there from Massinio, but still, just not enough time to clear everything and kind of make it work. And it didn't seem like that really dawned on them until it was way too late.
Yeah.
I have to just say, whatever it was Blitz was doing in the window, I just don't want to see that again.
Well, the funny thing is that when he jumped across and survived getting the info, it's like, oh my god, that's like you've already had a huge win. And given the clock, just not dying maximizes your chances to win even more. It's like I
don't even know why he was there to begin with, because he's in a corner that's going to get Molotov so much. He didn't have a smoke to escape either. Like, the whole thing's just super confusing to me. Like, just don't be there at that point in time. If you have somebody else who can throw a smoke, fine, whatever, if you want to, but that seems super risky. But I am also criticizing a team that's winning 11-5, so
yeah.
What do I know, Dan?
You are a nitpicky person.
That's what I get paid to do,
That's true.
Just complain.
With that.
Complain about Counter-Strike.
We care about excellence.
Well, listen, I'm not going to complain about Sensu. He's 18-9 right now, so that is super sick. We've seen like a couple of missed shots from him, but obviously massive output at the moment. I do think Yanko brought it up and said Sensu can't really be like the lowest performing player on the team. Like he has to be up there in front. Maybe one of the reasons why the Mongols still haven't found those trophies. Richard said maybe that's something that could be disappointing that they haven't. I kind of agree. I feel like they need to do something more. Here comes the ramp execute that we mentioned in the previous round. So here we go. Pretty standard stuff. Let's see if it works.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it might be somewhat of a paper tiger, given that there are any pistols behind this, really. Just one get little otherwise. And the Mongols are pretty prepared for this, but, I mean, you've got to hit the shots as well. Hello. Oh, the lineup for Blitz. Beautiful. Didn't expect the second player dug into that position. 9-10 operating from Ticket at the same time. And following up quite nicely. Acceptable losses for the Mongols.
Huge power in playing that double shadow position because you clear it out, you get the first player, and then you're like, oh, that's it. Like, there's nobody else. Also, I think they had a Molotov down that they must have thought the Molotov cleared the entire corner, but it didn't. So not only did they actually did kill Messinio in that position, or near that position, they also had a Molotov that they thought would have cleared the entire corner, and it just didn't. So,
yeah,
kind of getting wrecked in 10 different ways. Yes. MIBR, we've tried to sell this idea that things have been okay, even if they're behind. I don't think we're able to do that any longer. Also, Exit has only got 3 kills. That is obviously not acceptable. Actually, it's kind of weird when you look at the rest of the scoreboard for MIBR. It would suggest that they are a lot closer. It's like between 11 and 14 kills on everybody. So they're getting the kills, they're just not getting the rounds here. Yeah, maybe it is like secretly a more... Like, it looks like a really one-sided scoreline. It might be a little bit closer than that, but it won't actually save them from losing the map here. It's 4 versus 4, and they are trying to get back to the bomb side. This time splitting through connector. Lukowski, very nice pickup. Leg shot as well. Blitz. That's just so cold. He knows he's got the kill. He's not worried. He's not jiggling around. Just pulls out the USP. Incendiary to get rid of exits, and a little bit of a flick here. Deep grenade to end the map with. Blitz blowing up safe, and it will be the Mongols to pick up this early game on Mirage. That is really, really well done. I really appreciate that.
It's a nice sequence with all the util there for just each like respective kill, like the op shot, into the USP finish, into the incendiary, into the op shot, into the op shot, like into the AG. Lovely stuff, but looks like it's time to send it back to the analyst desk, see what they made of that first map.
It is, Dan. Yes, we're here. And look, I'll tell you what we make of that first map. It's pretty much just what we expected, right, guys? I mean, we did say this is Mongol's best map. They might be the best Mirage team here at the event. We expect them to run over teams like MIBR, and there was no surprises here. And Yanko, your group stage merchant friend, Senzu, with another big performance.
Yeah, true to his name. And I just love this map because it shows Counter-Strike, if you get the fundamentals down correctly, it's a much easier game, you know. And if you take care of the basics, pistol rounds with advantages, right? Like, that's the majority of the game. And here for Mongols, it was, you know, 4-0 start in the first half. In the second half, they didn't lose a single round, right? 6-0 starts as well. And you just make the life for yourself so much easier. Even MIBR at the tail end of the...
Actually, rather interesting. I hope that MIBR get to show a little bit more. Obviously, it just was not enough, and they kind of get blown out of the water on that first one. But they also did pick the map here, so let's see what they've got. They're going to be starting on the CT side. They'll be the Mongols on the T side, and I will just reiterate again, I do think this could be a very treacherous map to be picking. Even if you think you're good on it, you start on the CT side, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yes, obviously the Mongols running into a great CT side from FURIA yesterday. You know, I'm sure there were some things that the Mongols probably discussed and could benefit, you know, from that loss going into a T side today as well. So into this pistol, we've got the split there, going through mid, going through A long. Might be kind of keeping tabs on the rotation here. Nice fight there. 2 entrants on the long position, but Blitz with that headshot, that unlocks the site, and the bomb goes down.
It's actually so interesting that the Mongols go for this kind of an A split, because it's something that MIBR themselves love doing on the T side. So it almost feels like the Mongols have kind of stolen a bit of a pistol strat here coming out from them. And I mean, if it works, it works. Who cares? 3 versus 3. Potentially a very tough retake coming in. There's no kit either picked up on anyone at the moment. Don't know if there's one on the ground, but yeah, they've already lost Lukowski. He was the flank on this one. Now Techno going to try and hold it as they are dropping down, making a lot of noise. Nice shot, and Techno will just close out the round. 3 kills on him. And yeah, that just was good timing. Pretty straightforward stuff. As soon as they were in the middle, they pretty much just had a quick run to the A-bomb side.
Yeah, nice and simple and straightforward. And with that, obviously it does give the MongolZ a much better position to work from based on what we saw yesterday. Obviously yesterday, not winning the T-pistol, not getting off to a good start. But instead here, they can dictate the pace. Full save for MIBR. They've been opting to do this so far on both sides. We've seen that's generally be the preference, whereas a lot of teams these days would often force here. Got a mid-stack for MIBR with those pistols. A single flashbang, the single flash. And I like this from the MongolZ. This is a very good way to win around like this. Just get the bomb down ASAP.
Oh, yeah. Techno on the spray down. It's going to be really swift. I still think having the single flashbang for MIBR is good little detail.
Yeah. Like how I threw to you, and then one guy sprayed, and then the round was over.
Yeah, listen. Get it done quickly, I just don't want this round to drag on, Dan, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't like...
Just keep it going.
Yeah,
keep the pace up. None of that slow Counter-Strike.
We do not want drag. Maximal aerodynamic Counter-Strike.
Well, listen, we've got the M-Force back. Still no AWP early on here for MIBR. It's no surprise. One of the things we saw with FURIA, like you mentioned on this particular map, they had a great CT side as well, and it was a lot of that aggressive pushing that was coming out that really made a big difference. They were quite good at it. Hopefully we could see something similar here. They're going to have an early fight. It's against the MAC-10, but running in with a grenade in hand. Blitz was not ready to get peeked from that position, and this has worked out remarkably well. So much damage being dished out. Even if safe does go down here, they've still done a lot. Deep incendiary to really force them back, and everything going according to plan. It's Lokauzi way from the other side of the map, by the way, in connector, shutting down Senzu. Just a couple of players left now. This is the kind of early round you absolutely must win if you're MIBR. Again, the CT side here for the map can be really brutal, so they've done a fantastic job. Safe, wide swing, he gets a third one. Well done.
Yeah, really, really good to get a start off like this. And, I'm thinking back, if we're thinking about some of the things that worked for FURIA against the MongolZ yesterday on this map, something that comes to mind is when we saw MongolZ picking up the AWP early on, getting that pick from E-Box, finding ways to essentially disrupt the MongolZ before they could really get going into their default. And MIBR, if they're able to find those choice aggressions, I think things will go quite well. I think one of the issues for the CT side on this map is it's hard to get aggressive well. It's one of those maps.
Oh, yeah.
And then secondly, if you decide to not do it because it feels risky, well, it's always going to feel risky, I suppose. But, if you decide to play passive instead, then the T side can kind of set up pretty brutal takes. The B side, obviously, especially, is quite nasty. So we'll see how those dynamics play as we go into this next round.
Just a bit of a pause here to sort out a couple of things. It's Techno with 7-1. That's quite a couple of rounds for him at the beginning of the game here. But I think one of the weird things about yesterday when we saw Anubis was the lack of really a lot of the mid-aggression that we're normally used to seeing. I feel like both teams yesterday just decided it was better to just go fight connector and fight at the A-bomb side with a lot less mid-presence for the T side. And I feel like commonly, the kind of modern meta, at least in European Counter-Strike, we do see a lot more, heavy mid-control where, you do get like 2 or 3 Ts in there to try and fight early on. A little bit like we're seeing now, which is shaping up to be a bit of an A-split coming out for the MongolZ. I think the reason why this works so well is it's one of those situations you just need one kill. Whether it's on Insani here or it's in the A-bomb site. But I mean, if Insani just gets pushed back, if he gets Molotov off this corner, then that A-bomb site is almost certainly going to fall.
Defense on the other side of the A-long smoke. And the MongolZ want to go. They want to go fast, but they have to pick their moments. In position now on mid, so this would be the moment the split comes through. Breno with the flashbang knows he's got no time for that one, and Techno and Neo bursting on through the long position. This split looking quite nice, and now the bomb's going down. 2v4 retake now for MIBR.
Yeah, they can't. Could try to stick around and do some damage here, but actually fighting for the round is not really an option. And I must say, it wasn't even that really Insani was pushed back. He just decided to walk away before he really found anyone. And I think, unfortunately, that left his team in a really, really awkward spot. Gonna lose one more M4, so exit. Does have a kit if they were being, you know, super crazy and running away from the bomb site. Again, it could be fun, but not going to get any fun diffusers here, which is kind of a shame for us. 3-1 though, and I just, unfortunately, I think that kind of a defense when you have those two people, they're falling back from the forward position on the A-bomb site, and maybe that's, oh wow, they actually get exit right at the end too. But that's fine if they have to stay 2 at the A-bomb site, but when I feel like the timing for Insanity to fall back just left them so vulnerable. Like they had to fall back and try and defend, you know, the cam connector and also the push that was coming in from the other side. I don't like it, and it didn't work out for them. Immediate timeout call for MIBR.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, like you said, you know, they pick up that early round, and that looks really promising, but you kind of have to convert the next one. And you know, it's cool that MongolZ kind of just went for something really simple, able to kind of leverage just a really nice split. And part of the reason why they're able to do that is because, yeah, just that passive approach to mid allowed them to kind of walk up and set up the split. And this is the point that I just made with what FURIA found successful, is finding ways to disrupt that defense before they're in position, because if they're in position to go for a split like that, it's going to be hard to defend reliably.
Some upgraded pistols, some smokes being set down. I mean, 5.7s on this map. There are definitely a bunch of places you can get close enough to have that be a pretty lethal pistol. Also stacking. So just, I mean, there's no way for them to force them into the stack here, but you can hope. You can hope that someone's going to be showing up. For the minute, the MongolZ are being very, very careful to make sure that nothing goes wrong here. And they're not going to see anyone out there either. So, just mid-presence. Bomb is still all the way back towards T-spawn. So we just know that the MongolZ have not made any choices yet. They're not really looking to do anything apart from just, you know, getting this early map control and putting a little bit of pressure on. Flash for the middle. Pretty nice, honestly. There's just no one far enough in. But I like the idea nonetheless. And they're going to try and see if they can hunt down Blitz here, but he will smartly run away from the fight. There's no reason why he should stick around. Techno neither. I mean, throwing the grenade is one thing. It failed, but I'm so happy to see the MongolZ not engaging in that fight, because all you can really do, maybe you get a couple of kills on some pistols. Who really cares about that? Yeah. But on the downside, if you lose the AK, that's when things can go really bad.
Yeah, and you have all the information as to what the CTs are doing. And so you know that there's so much space clear on the map. And we've talked about this a lot. When you're against pistols, or really half-buy, just getting the bomb down as quickly as possible, like finding the shortest path, the least risky path to get the bomb down, force them into a retake. They don't have the util, they don't have the kits, they don't have really any way to do anything at that point. So you're just winning the round off of positioning alone. And that just keeps it simple. That's like the lowest risk, highest return way to play this type of a round. So yeah, good to see that executed here.
Exactly what you love to see. 4-1 in their favor as a result, and MIBR are kind of back to struggling a little bit again. They're going to be picking up M4 one more time in the next round, but again, it will be without the AWP. It'll be out some of the luxuries that you normally love to see here. So that's kind of another thing. It's delaying the opportunity to get that sniper out early, and that means they are, you know, they're going to be lacking that weapon if nothing else. It's not disastrous yet, but we are slowly starting the spiral that can happen here on the CT side, where you have such a hard time picking up any rounds, and suddenly, even if it's a map that you like and you picked it and everything else, it just doesn't play out the way that you were expecting. I do like this double setup in the middle, though, for the CTs. They're a lot more forward here. Would actually be super interested if they could do even more than just kind of hang around at the corner.
At least, you know, the shutdown of that positioning is for sure, yeah, it's a good sign. As that has been a hole that's been exploited so far by the MongolZ. Perhaps fixing that Molotov. We saw that yesterday, that FURIA discovered that the Molotov was just like leaving a gap in the corner, so they actually managed to exploit that. And indeed, you know, MIBR not giving up the position. Oh man, the header, not quite the thing you want to have exploding on you there.
What a flashbang.
Flash.
Blitz does get traded out, but then again, they get the Lucaozi with a grenade. So it's still pretty good. Dangerous position to be in back here if you are exit, because it gets Molotov, well, every single time somebody attacks the bomb site. There we go. Deep Molotov exit, running out into it. Messinio, that's all he needed to do. Insani, it's a nice attempt to try and tap away here. Breno, alone versus 3, but the second spray down there, not working out in his favor. Instead, it's Techno to pick up a double kill. He's up to 11-1 right now. So he is having a fiery beginning to this Anubis map, and again, taking away the money. The fact that it's down close to this one, I just don't think it matters that much for MIBR. It is fine to do a little bit of damage, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about them accumulating some money on their own, preferably trying to get that AWP online at some point. They're in a lot of trouble right here.
And it's back to the pistols. I feel like this is too familiar of a sight. Just really emphasize the trouble you're describing that they're experiencing. And a couple smokes for delay. 3 smokes, actually. 4 smokes. I can't count.
Well, so the problem is now in modern day Counter-Strike as well, they, you know, sometimes they pick them up from the ground. So it's like maybe you did have the countdown right.
Yeah. And
AK.
A counting certification.
Who needs it now? You know, we're always told, like, oh, you're never going to have a calculator with you at all times. But then we all have phones that have calculators. So, you know, don't even need to, Dan. We've got AI now. It could do the counting for you.
I need that Neuralink chip in my brain. Connect that to AI. You won't have to do anything then.
I probably won't be the first person to get it, but, you know, it is an exciting prospect. Here we go. Blitz. Good double. Kind of staying away from the AK. Well, they were. Lukowski's finding the best timing possible, but they're still going to lose the bomb site. Doubt if Lukowski can turn this into a victory, and in fact, given the fact they're on the CT side, oh, I kind of hate the fact that he goes close. I wish they could have picked up, because Exit's going to have the other AK, so they could have had 2, and I think that's a more valuable thing than trying to do a 2v3 retake with no utility, maybe a little bit of armor, but also definitely no kit. I would have stayed away.
Yeah. I mean, seeing an AK away would be great. Would be really great. I think the question remains, though, as to where do MIBR get that early disruption or advantage? I mean, not necessarily even advantage per se, but just, you know, losing the AK2. Unfortunate, but yeah, just, you know, trying to be, you know, get that information, have somewhat of an exchange, maybe force some util from the Mongols, just like be more present, you know, in the very early stages of the round. It is, of course, really hard on Anubis to do that effectively. I think that's why how FURIA played yesterday was so impressive, and I think, you know, this is something I know that you've talked about a lot of casts we've done recently now around this map, where that T side it's just so hard to fight up against because of the limited CT options.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to complain about. By the way, Techno has as many kills as the entire MIBR team right now. Ooh, look, Howsey, not ready for it. Did not expect someone to be there, and I don't know why he wouldn't. I do like the push into the river here. This is really sick, but it doesn't matter. They've lost the B-bomb side here. Safe. If he doesn't get that shot, he will be dead immediately, but the bomb, not quite there. So, weirdly for the Mongols, not quite reading how strong of a position they actually had at the start. It doesn't matter, though. 9-10. Nice catch onto safe here. It's Senzu holding the line just barely against Insani. And it will be another call here to recover the rest of the weapons for Breno and for Exit. They cannot go for this one. Just some really weird gaps in the defense there early on. And maybe especially for Lukowski, who is 2-7. Walking into that open position, not knowing the timing for the T-spawn there to make a run for it. Sure, the T-smoke had been thrown down, like there was a lurk smoke that had already been thrown, so still, you have to wait until it's actually up before you can find any cover behind it. So, 7-1.
Yes, it kind of feels like there's just internal bleeding happening right now, whereas there's no medical assistance. Except some band-aids, maybe. Nothing that's actually meaningful. Because it just seems that, you know, we're finding consistent advantages for the Mongols pretty much everywhere across the map. They're finding edges kind of wherever they go, that's always the worst possible thing if you're the CT side, because you don't know what to patch up at that point. And you don't even know how to, like, is there a way you can kind of play around it? Can you, like, stack the weakness? You know, is there some mind games you can play? That doesn't really seem to be the case when you're losing out. Senzu just being the lurk, catching the rotation frags. Pretty straightforward stuff from Senzu.
It's also, A, is kind of a freak timing in many ways for MIBR. They must feel the same way because this was a round where they decided to go really aggressive. And then, as a result, they just lose the B bomb side. So kind of a bit unfortunate. I do think it's the right idea. There are a lot of really fun tricks you could do outside of the A bomb site, where if you have a couple of people pushing out in that front of A position, where the beans are, I just call it the beans position.
Nice.
You're from the UK, Dan. I know you must love some beans.
Don't dare say it. Yeah, I mean,
You guys put beans on everything. There's the beans.
the beans. I think beans look really flat, man. Listen, those beans have lost
Whereas
their,
I'm not
their
from the
structural
UK.
integrity. I mean,
So
come
I
on.
just don't even care about it. But you might be right. I'll take your word for it. And it might not be beans at all. But I'll keep calling them anyway. But you can do some really cool setups where you have a guy inside of the A-bomb site throwing Molotovs or even flashes or even HEs to try and push those people out to actually fight. And it can be really efficient. Would love to see that. But I think it's probably very hard right now for MIBR to find the confidence to get many of those things done because they just haven't been able to do much of anything, to be honest. They can't even defend the beans.
I mean, why would you? They look like they're well past there. I mean, they barely resemble beans anymore, I've got to say. So, spoiled goods, much like perhaps the CT side.
This B-bomb, there's nobody actually defending it. They're like, nah, we don't need to. It's going to be a clean bomb plan. They're smoked off, Molotov down, sprayed down. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, playing retake is one thing, but obviously on the B side, even with full util and weapons is a hard ask. So it's a rough one. And, you know, saving the M4, saving the Pyjamas, honestly, does feel like the best possible result at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe getting some exit kills, maybe steal an AK away. I mean, these are the only potential wins that are now remaining for MIBR in this round.
Exit kills, you know, pistol kills. I'll take, honestly, at this point, if I'm MIBR, I'll take probably any kind of kill you get. I might even take team kills if I can at this stage, just to get something on the board here.
We saw quite a few team kills yesterday, actually.
We did.
And I felt like it was just one cold kill. Who was it? It was just one person. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Slacks on M80 who ended up getting 2 on Mirage. I think it was like 2 team kills in the same round, like back to back, which was funny. Yeah, this is sort of tragic. But I keep warning people. Keep saying it.
Anubis, yeah.
Don't pick Anubis.
Well, there are a lot of, there's a pretty healthy contingent of anti-Anubis people, right? Pro players and otherwise.
Donk said he hated it.
Yeah. Doesn't Dupree hate it? Did he say that?
He might have. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right. I don't even really hate the map. I'm suspicious when people pick it because I've seen this happen so many times. Even the teams that really objectively are good on Anubis,
yeah.
I always worry that they're going to lose the pistol and then go on to lose everything else, and there's just no recovering it. They have double orbs this time, so that is obviously a sick investment for them. If this doesn't work out, then it'll be tragic once again. It's 9-10 to start with, and why not keep the pressure on? You might as well. Insani here, it's so close. Imagine if he did it. Insani, the only one to try and hold the site. But weirdly for Blitz, he's got the bomb in the middle, so he probably doesn't feel like he can push up, because if he dies there, the bomb is going to be lost, so he has to fall back and be a bit more respectful. 3 versus 3, and one of the best chances so far for MIBR to actually pick up a second round. You know, the fact is, this is not over yet. If they can get an 8-4 scoreline here, they're still very competitive.
Look at the gaps.
Yeah.
It's just in the site. They have no idea. There's so many gaps.
Yeah, but the bomb is all the way at B. So Messinio is actually going to turn into a really long lurk. Sensu's holding Insani in the middle. If you're MIBR, you have no way to read this. You actually have no idea what's happening right now. And now they're going to go back. Instead of him being a lurk, he's just going to hold it, and the bomb is going to be brought back. The mid-rounding for MongolZ here is so crazy. They have such a good understanding of what's going on and how to play this. Exit probably going to be quite surprised to find someone here, but still, that's a fight that Messinio should win.
Yes. That's micro-correction not working out on that flick, and now suddenly might be a chance, because the Kalsi has an AWP, and it just takes a good timing. It's looking at the right opening there, the right.
Look at the fake. Just smoke and Molotov into the A-bomb site, trying to set it up, trying to keep somebody there. I think smartly Lukowski has not moved down, and that's the round-winning kill. Bomb's on the ground. There's nothing he can do. Senzu. Yeah, I mean, you can run if you want to, but you cannot win the round at that stage. So Lukowski if he had fallen for the fake, because that was going to be calling for a teammate there, if he'd actually started running, then that was how they were going to win it. Honestly, I thought the Mongols had this one. I think if you replay that round like 10 more times, Messinio probably wins that like 8 out of 10 times, and then they just run back with the bomb, and there's nothing that MIBR could do about it.
Yeah, it was a great lurk, and yeah, great presence of mind for the Calzi to stay focused on the job there, holding the site and not giving the position away if there was to be some shenanigans, which there were. And the AWP is, you know, the double AWP, it's funny because that was a round of the double AWP, and the AWP is so good in certain specific scenarios, like, you know, whether it's like, you know, certain afterplant scenarios on certain maps, or in any situation where the other team, the T side, has no, or rather, let's say just a couple players, and they need to maintain the surprise advantage, so they can't give away sound cues, which means they can't use your util to clear spots. They just have to walk clean, slowly, like this. Well, not like this one, but like 3 corners, but more like that one.
Yeah.
There you go. The AWP is absolutely the perfect weapon. You get mega advantage. So perfect there. So a second round on the board at the very least.
Listen, it's the start. It's the beginning of something. It has to be all the rest. I do think 8-4 is sort of a minimum, given how much of a better team the Mongols really should be. Pretty common setup. With the double AWP here, you're probably always going to have 3 people at the B-bomb side, more or less, because it's just... The B-bomb side is hard to hold, even with 3 people. So the luxury of having, you know, one of your AWPers in the middle or at the A-bomb site, and then kind of doing the rest from there, it makes sense.
And you can see MongolZ sort of targeting the expected weakness of that, pressuring A long. But that could just be pressure. I mean, there's not a surefire way to know until the actual push comes in, which now it will. With a nice opener, but Techno has been so good at these entries, and this round is no different. 2 for him.
He's 17-3. It's an absolutely disgusting performance.
That's the entry, especially.
Yeah,
Not bad.
He's been in so many fights. They can't even do it. Like, as much as you want to see them do this, is not an option. There's still plenty of grenades, like the Molotov just going down. If they try to retake it, that's all that's going to happen, is the grenade will land on top of them, and they will be slowed down, and they just won't be able to. I do sort of low-key wish, again, that they would try to go for like a really late defuse, and just, but they have to gather on the other side of where they are, basically go through CT spawn. But I do think it's a bit of an option, although the Mongols actually are sticking around remarkably close to the bomb site here, so not really running far away at all, and they will exit towards CT spawn. No more fights happening in this round. 9-2, and MIBR. It's like a small spark. Couple of sparks maybe throughout this first half, but really not more than that, as they have been demolished by Techno.
And you can see also why FURIA, you know, were finding some success pushing E-boxes. You can kind of see that, if you just take that round, for example, that round kind of shows the necessity of those types of plays, because if you just sit back and wait, and you, again, we talked about this earlier too, you allow the TC to just set up, you're in for a world of hurt. So finding a way to know, do we have to have 3 players at B for all this time, it's going to be good. And we've got to push out
Nice.
B. So that's definitely, you know, kind of aggression that we want to see.
Yeah, let's go. You know, even if they don't get the kill or anything else like that, just putting the pressure on, trying to suggest that we could be doing something over here. And if nothing else, when you come back, you have to go and check some of the corners, and you have to worry about the fact that there might be more aggression. I do like it. They take down Blitz at the start too. That was in the middle of the map. But you can see the Mongols are actually deciding to spend resources now to go back and clear it. It's going to cost them a bit of time, but Senzu, that might speed things up quite a bit. Nice kill. The bomb being brought on over now. Only 2 people at this bomb site, and Senzu's going to figure out immediately where one of them is. So, yeah, the battle is on now. Deep Molotov going to land back here. Dangerous jump, to be quite honest. But he wasn't getting punished for it this time, at the very least. Safe still goes down, and the trouble will just continue. Deep flashbang, exit. A little bit of trouble, maybe a lot of trouble back here. Does throw out a flashbang, but the bomb's been planted on the other side here. Round number 12, not looking good for MIBR.
Need some good performances here from Breno Exit and Insani. You got to just hit some great shots at this point. They've got all the positioning working against them, and 9-10 on the WP as well. At least he gets traded by Insani. Looking for more. Discipline here from the Mongols, forcing him to have to go deeper for these peaks. There's the trade swing from Zenio, and now just Breno coming in from E-Box, seeing what he can find, announcing his presence with the HE through the angle, going aggressive, decisive, but Zenio is the one to get the kill. 10-2, strong half on the T side of the Mongols here on Anubis.
I would say very likely, also too strong for MIBR to really make it back from this one. I admired Techno for not taking the fight in the river there where he could have down the middle, because he knew that there was somebody coming in from that position. He's got 17 kills in the first half. Imagine being on that much of a crazy beginning, and then you don't take that. You've probably won the round no matter what. I think it was a 2-on-4 at the end or something like that, maybe like a 2-on-3. So he must have felt like, well, even if I die, we're probably going to win the round anyway. And he just still decided to play it the perfect way. Yeah. He notices, he falls back, he doesn't get grenaded. Even at the end, he falls out of the connector or out of the E-box area and just back towards the pillar. Yeah. So he's never really taken that fight, in spite of the fact that he's, by a long stretch here, the best player in the map.
And the reason why that's really important as well is because you have to condition to always make the correct decision to make it as hard as possible for the other team. Yeah. No matter how much you're winning in the vacuum of this game, it's not just about the vacuum of this game. You have to routine that into your brain so that when you get to like really high pressure spots against really sick teams where it's such a close game, that the pressure doesn't force an error because you've allowed yourself to break that conditioning from time to time. Don't give that a potential to exist. Discipline is everything.
I said the Mongols kind of stole the pistol strat from MIBR, because I said they do like this kind of a split fake coming out. This time they're going to be dropping down in the middle, trying to see if they get to the B-bomb site. Insani actually jumping past the corner and taking down Techno. That's a bit of a beginning. Shock and speed coming at them. MIBR. Winning the pistol is critical. If they even want a shot, even winning the pistol here and winning the first rifle round, it's such a long road back, but if you lose the pistol, there's probably not much of a discussion to be had. They are going back at range. Now, there is a flash, I think, somewhere. They haven't thrown it yet. 9-10 gets a kill, and now the dualies could be put into play. Not for long, though. Senzu trying to save the round and actually getting kind of close to that. 1 versus 3. He's not sure where the rest of them are. Senzu, oh, it's so delicious. Surgical strike there is taken down safe, but he does get dinked at the same time. So he's down to 2 health, and Lukowski will be able to drop him. For a minute there, I thought Senzu was going to be the ultimate heartbreaker, but it doesn't turn out that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hard on the pistol. So, all right, a little bit of a chance for MIBR. A long road back into this one. Can they replicate some of the success that the Mongols had? And ultimately, you know, a lot of that success again comes from the fact that MIBR were struggling to find ways to play more up in the faces of the Mongols, sitting back a lot. I don't think the Mongols are going to have that issue here. They've got a lot of rounds to kind of play with, to feel more comfortable taking some of those risky moves with. So
I feel like
they're in a tough spot.
I feel there's so many things that were left on the table in that first half that MIBR didn't really get a chance to try, and some of it, sure, you can sort of make the excuse and say, well, they didn't have quite enough money or whatever, but that's also just the fact of modern-day Counter-Strike. That's going to happen sometimes, and you probably have to try and make some of those things work, even with MP9s and 5.7s and, you know, incomplete utility. On a map like this one, you almost just have to say, well, you should roll the dice and try and say we can't get that working because you're not going to have the luxury otherwise. It's pretty nice bursts, honestly, coming out. I appreciate that with a Mac 10. Techno going to be going down, so cleanup happening rather quickly. They do lose a little bit, but they will pick up most of the important rifles here. So it's 10-4. Now let's see what the Mongols can do here on the CT side. Maybe they can show us a better version of how to play this. I surely hope so, because if they end up losing your 10-2 lead, as happened.
Don't you even suggest it?
Listen, it's happened before. Can happen again, you know.
Wow. Okay. Anders over here trying to manifest.
Listen, I'd love to see MIBR make a bit of a comeback. I feel like they've, in terms of the kills, again, it's not that they're completely far behind here. They are doing something right. Aggression from Techno in the middle, and that deep smoke. If anyone had been nearby for MIBR, seeing that smoke going that far into the middle, it's an immediate sign that something is up. You kind of know, oh, wait a minute, that smoke isn't just to stop us from going, it's to create a little pocket for them to take the fight there. And you know that, but there was nobody there from MIBR because they were setting up for a much, much faster A execute, which they will just follow through. They say, okay, never mind, let's just go for it anyway. Blitz, I don't know how he's done it, but 2 kills, one of them without him being able to see almost anything. And the counter grenades coming down. I hate that peak from 9-10, but it does work out.
Yeah, it's just safe left, and CT economy looking really good right now if they're able to keep all these members up. Here's another 101. Techno moving on through. 20 kills now in this match as he picks up that one, and looking very calm and relaxed there in the MongolZ camp. I think there were some moments in Mirage early on where there's a little, maybe a little bit of stress, a little, you know, waking up still necessary, but they're definitely all the way going right now. They are
so locked in. Yeah, Techno, so critical at the moment, just making very, very few mistakes. Impressive KD. And they just need 2 more rounds. They won the first one 13-5. I still probably will defend MIBR a bit on that scoreline and say that's like a closer 13-5 than it seems, but it's not obviously a close game. Like, no matter how much we want to manipulate that, we're never going to be able to say that they could have won that map. They definitely couldn't.
Team out.
Yeah, we're going to need the real spin doctors to make that work. Is a loss really a loss? You know?
Yeah.
Don't you learn more from
everything?
Yeah. Another really deep smoke here being set up. This time they will see it, and we'll slow them down just a bit. They're going to try and boost on over, but you can see already Blitz is well aware that could be a thing. He's actually just pre-aiming it. How do you not win that fight?
That's kind of crazy. Like, you know, heads up stuff from Safe there to get that kill, because Safe looked just as ready somehow. And 4v4 now. MongolZ. That's a trade, but 3 versus 4 for MongolZ. MIBR doing some good work here in mid, but they need to close things down, and there are certainly a lot of chokes that they still have to contest to get to a bomb site. So still a lot of danger that could potentially be lurking. And with this push coming on through from Techno, I'll have to see what value he can get if he's got a good timing. You know, he's going to go back here to the front of site.
He's heard them. 9-10's also rotating through CT spawn at the moment, so there's a bit of a sandwich effect going on. Bomb being planted in a great position. Messinio coming in, so each member of the CT side here got to be sort of playing on their own. It's a good beginning. Techno gets a kill. It distracts as Messinio comes in and shoots Breno in the back, and Techno, a sickening headshots, taking down Lukowski. It's so fast, and they kind of guess where exit is anyway. A 1 versus 3, another grenade comes in. That bomb is ticking away. He does have a Molotov as well. Could he find the angle to throw it? I doubt it. He's taking down 9-10, but the defuse is already through. And the MongolZ just make it look easy. Techno on 22-5. It's not just Techno, but obviously if you're MIBR, that's going to be the excuse that you're going to be thinking about it. It's like, well, what do we do against someone like that?
Yeah, and you know, you highlighted it too, just so that this is like the cool thing on these retakes, where the timing comes on, you get that first fight from Techno, and then suddenly everybody's looking. And in that moment that everybody's looking, then there's a back turned on E-Box, and that's where the next frag happens. So it just starts to fall like a series of dominoes. And that I felt like that was obviously the best chance that MIBR were going to get. Now they have to make it work with a lot less. And for MongolZ, 3B, 1 mids, 1A long at the moment. It's a typical start to their setup. Where is the opening for MIBR? What can they find here around A long? Are they going to just burst through, Anders?
I mean, it's honestly probably one of the better choices they have. They don't have a ton of utility to do like a lot of fakes with, so you know, a little bit of a push in the middle here to try to put on a little bit of pressure, but 9-10 spotting out one player. I don't know if you could see that range that was the bomb. I kind of doubt it. Flash going over, the MAC-10 flying past, but Messinio surprised that he got that 1 kill. He could have easily got taken down. It's a very nice hold now with Senzu showing up on top of everything else. 2 versus 3 here. Safe and Insani doing the best they can to keep the dream alive for MIBR. 2 versus 2 on the retake, and Techno's already walking through. They finally find a way to kill him. Takes a lot, but they will actually get the job done, and they can extend this a little while longer. I don't know when you would start to believe in the comeback, but it's probably they're going to have to get like 9 or 10 rounds here to even have the conversation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And It doesn't really seem like the Mongols are going to be giving anything like that away. You know, 12-5. It's. I mean, because I really hate that I'm saying this right now because I can already see like the compilation later where they take the soundbite and it's actually the end outcome is MIBR actually winning overtime or something. But
lean into it, Dan. Make it a strong statement. Say they will absolutely never make this comeback.
Oh no. Okay, well, MIBR are challenging E-Box here. Pretty fast timing, much faster than we've seen.
I like it. The speed with which they do that catches Techno off guard. I mean, it's a really classic kind of play. It's pretty much worth saving, I think, already for the Mongols. You can step up with the pistols if you want, that's fine. But for the rest of them, just make sure to keep the rifles alive, because the real path to a comeback here for MIBR is obviously if the Mongols just never have any money. So really is all about that at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am curious, and is what we'll see from the Mongols in this tournament, because we talk about this concept of peaking, and we're really early in the Swiss system right now, and so there's lots of games left to be played. And part of the aspect of peaking is that when you have a team that's really good, like one of the top teams coming into a competition with a lot of different teams, they don't have pressure on them just yet to perform like they will have when they're later on playing against some of the better teams, when they're playing deeper into the tournament. That's when the pressure comes in, and then actually, the dialing up of the nervous system is like pushes everyone's performance to the next level, and that's when you really see, what stage they're in terms of their overall team level.
It's also been a real talking point around the Mongols is the fact that once they get onto the stages, they've, that's when the pressure's almost been too much for them. And they haven't been able to really keep up with it in the same way, which has been, I think, people have been fairly disappointed to see that.
Yeah.
Also, just because they were sort of, maybe they still are, so like a community favorite sort of team. Everyone wants to see them do well. But at some point, that mood will sour, and people will start to say, come on, you've got so many chances, like what's going on? Here we go, 9-10 taking matters into his own hands. Shuts down safe at the beginning. I love the idea. I almost even love the repeat, even if it's very greedy here. It's just, they're trying to end this game before MIBR can pick up any momentum, before they can really get anything going here. 4 versus 5 to start this round with, round number 19. And MIBR, what do you do now? What's the decision? I mean, yeah, maybe just go back through connector and the B-bomb site, try and do it again. It's very likely that 9-10 will move across the map from that position. That's what Orbans do.
That's what they do.
Take a shot and move on.
Yes.
So like a vagabond, just alcoholic, just doing shots in different places.
I was wondering which direction you take us.
I had much worse intentions, but that's where we ended.
Not disappointed.
Blitz, and Shockey's alive. Not for long though. Techno will get a good kill. And that's with the USP. The real weaponry hasn't really even shown up. Oh, he's trying with that knife. He stabs Breno. Oh, this might be the end here. Exit in a 1 versus 4. He's got no safety. He can't really. And he's being pushed back into connector instead. What an awkward position. 9-10 to take him down. 13-6. The blades have come out now for the Mongols. They don't even allow for the bomb plant. That is such a delicious way to take the victory. I absolutely love it. Now, a Welshman and an Indian and a Serb has walked into